the paint color is the last thing you do after you pick out all your upholstery.
Oh,
then
now that's interesting. Okay.
Then that tells you the colors that you need to paint.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's something, too, is lifestyle has a lot to do with what you're going to do inside your home. What are you comfortable with? Because sometimes people, I mean, you mentioned in your book Donald Trump, he has a house that is palatial with a lot of what he has. Well, there's a lot of people that don't want that. But if they really want to have something that's going to suit them, and if they really want to upgrade, sometimes a designer can really, really do some real good things for you, give you some good perspectives, and actually enable you perhaps to utilize some of the things that you have in a much more effective way.
We don't want to necessarily sell you product. What we want to do is create a beautiful environment that you're comfortable with, and where a designer can help you is we're current on the, we know what's coming as far as style goes. We know what's going out as far as trends go. We shop at many different stores, so we're not trying to give you one look. And I'm not trying to give you what I like. I'm trying to give you what you like. And actually, if you go to our website, HearthstoneInteriorDesign.com, www.HearthstoneInteriorDesign, you can check out many of our photographs, and you'll see they range from a log cabin to a 26,000 square foot home, as well as condos. Mm-hmm. So it makes no difference. Everybody's entitled to a beautiful home. It has nothing to do with money, and it has nothing to do with how much you're spending at all.
Now, you have a list in your book of questions to ask a designer, which I think really is good. And I'm just going to review them quickly because you need to interview designers, and that's what you state very clearly in your book. Just don't say, I want an interior designer. There has to be some kind of a flow between you and the designer so you can feel good. I think of a woman that had a $2 million condominium. She worked with a woman that was a designer, and the designer put in what she thought she wanted. The communication between the two of them was terrible.
Correct.
And they ended up going to court over the silly thing, and it ended up costing this woman, I think it was that I knew, she was a client of mine, something like $500,000 to do the renovations in this condo, and she was miserable with most of it. And I thought, what in the world went on here? I mean, it was a war for
Well, I think
years.
that goes just like anything. There's a lot of people in their profession that shouldn't be in their profession, no matter what it is. And I think at the onset, if you ask the questions that are in the book, you're going to have a rapport with that designer, and you're going to be able to weed out the professional one from one that shouldn't be in the business.
Well,
and that brings me to another point. I also know of a lot of clients that will ask their wallpaper person or their painter or somebody that's not even a designer to help them with the house, just because they're friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that doesn't make sense to me at all. I mean, why would I ask somebody that's not trained in the profession just because they're dealing inside the house?
Oh yes, I know. I've made that same mistake.
Story.
So there's a lot of people I think that would have the rationale. Gee whiz, this is a person that's a friend and they're artistic and they'll know how to do it. Well, you can end up paying a heck of a lot more in the long run because they're not going to do what really should be done. Or
they're going to sell you their look and not your look.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And your questions, I think, are good, and I'm just going to run through them quickly. What do you see as important issues or considerations for the project? What are the steps in the design process? What details will you oversee? What will I be expected to provide? What are the fees? What's the timetable or milestones for paying them? How long do you estimate the design process will take? May I have a list of past clients that I may contact whom you've worked for before? And all of those are very significant questions because when you start working, we're not talking about just changing maybe a set of drapes. We're talking about really doing a refreshment of, you might say, a refreshing makeover of what you already have. So if you're going to do this and really be serious about it, having that information is important, especially if you're going to be doing a kitchen Or if you're planning on knocking out walls, or you're wanting to have an open house, maybe you moved into a house that has all these little tiny rooms, and you say, oh, I can't stand this anymore, I've got to make a change. Boy, you need that interior designer. Now,
and I have had people that knocked out walls, and then they didn't have any place to put their furniture because they knocked out walls.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it doesn't necessarily open up the space. Sometimes it can cause problems. Sometimes it helps. I mean, it goes both directions. So.
Yes, and that's where having someone else that has the visual capability that's where a designer comes in and is so very valuable. And, you know, you say people that have second homes. I was just reviewing something before I went on the air that was sent to me by a friend about a person that bought a house that's sitting up on a rock that was built over 100 years ago. I think it was built in 1900. And they went in, they got the house for $3,000, close to $4,000 in the 80s. And they have totally refurbished and redecorated this place. And this is like a summer place that they go to just for a short time during the year. And I looked at this and I thought, wow, that was really a lot of work. The place has like 26 windows in it or 30 windows. It was a big windows because it's a rock sitting in the middle of a large body of water. It's a beautiful place. So every place is going to have its own kind of needs and magic, but a summer home is different. What have been your experiences with people that have second homes when they want to freshen them up?
Well, I think the main thing that I would recommend to people is to get a different environment than what you live in currently. If you're a very formal person, then go for a rustic setting. If you live normally, maybe make even your vacation house a little bit more tropical or just a different feel so that it feels like a vacation when you visit it. It's a different lifestyle than what you currently live. So. Well,
and I think that's a very good suggestion. And I think that's what this family has done with this home. And it's something that, my goodness, it's just absolutely gorgeous. But you have, again, 7 common mistakes. Let's talk about number 1, monotony. Explain what that is.
Well, the most common mistake deals back probably from the 70s when everybody did 3 colors throughout their same house. Or let's take 1985 when everybody did the mauve and blue. And everywhere you went to, the doctor's office, everybody had it. By 1990, you had to evacuate because that color was just all over, and now nobody wants to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
So monotony is keeping the house in the same feel throughout. And when I mean by that, I make a reference in the book where your rooms, you should go by feelings. For instance, a bedroom may be more romantic. A kitchen may be more of a morning room and be happier, brighter colors. And yet your dining room may be a darker, richer color because you use that in the evening under candlelight. So you want your rooms to have different feelings because not everybody feels like going in the same space all the time. So why would you want your house the same?
Good point. Heirlooms. Let's talk about heirlooms.
Mm-hmm. Now, heirlooms, I can go a whole book on heirlooms alone. Your parents bought their furniture because they wanted that furniture. When they pass on or any relative passes on, that doesn't mean that their furniture is part of them. I mean, if you love it and you admire it and it brings back memories and you have a spot for it, by all means use it. But you're not obligated to use it. If it doesn't fit your lifestyle, doesn't fit your look, let it go. Don't go spend tens of thousands of dollars over something that you do not like.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
You know.
I mean, there are some people who have had things and then they try to figure out how they can get rid of it or how they can sell it or maybe give it away. And perhaps sometimes that's the best way to do it, is just to give it away to someone else or maybe have a garage sale, depending on what the value might be. Mm-hmm. I think in today's world, the Antique Roadshow, so many people look at these things and they go, well, it might be worth a lot of money. Well, go and have it appraised. See if it is.
Right.
See if it is something. And if you do not like it, make it okay to sell it. I've known people whose tastes, whatever they inherited, they said, I can't stand this. If I had to have this in my house, I'd go batty. So they worked out some arrangement with an antique dealer, so their piece was on consignment, and they ended up selling it to someone that just fell in love with it.
Right.
And that made everybody happy, the antique dealer as well as them, and I think that that's very, very good.